Hey guys, my name is Simpsy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more Hearts of Iron 4 Millennium Dawn Modern Day mod here today on the channel. We're going to be playing as my home country of Australia. Here today, we're going to unite Southeast Asia into one faction, with Australia being the ruling party. I want to build a ring of steel of nations protecting Australia throughout this series, because if the US doesn't show up, we're stuffed if anyone attacks us, like China, Japan. Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. But you get the idea. We can't be that fragile in this game. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new. I'd really much appreciate it. So, without further ado, let's get stuck into the Australian campaign. Starting in 2000, Australia has a population of 20 million. The Liberal Party is currently ruling, with John Howard being the Prime Minister in a coalition. I think we need to go down the nationalist route in this series. I think I want to install the army. Yeah, the ADF, the Australian Defence Force. I would rather them lead the country rather than Pauline fucking Hanson, to be honest. But crikey, we've only got 7,000 manpower, holy shit. And we've got some negative traits here as well, which we would like to remove. Our construction is terrible at the moment, but we are mostly a export economy, which isn't too bad. Okay, so we actually don't have a national religion. Christian is for the states. We actually don't have one straight up as Christian. Interesting. We're slightly corrupt. Let's try and reduce that, and we'll try and get the economy booming as well. Industry, and then the small businesses, the sort of the factions within Australia. Alright, we want to go down with extensive centralised bureaucratic state eventually. We want to massively increase our military spending. We want to try and buff up the education, the police force, healthcare, and welfare spending where we can. Oh, interesting. We're actually, yeah, it's realistic. We're mostly an export economy. So globalised trade we'll eventually go for. We're going to have to put in the draft at some point. We'll try and change back, and we'll probably bring in women to fight in the army as well. And we'll try and go with global interventionism as well. We might even look to bring in some defense companies to help out. So I think early on, the main objective of this series is to try and secure, puppet, and take territory in and around Australia. I think we'll annex New Zealand, bring it in as a state, because there's even a part of our constitution or whatever, some legislation, that if New Zealand ever wanted to be a state, they could, which is hilarious. We might even try and annex the Solomon Islands. And maybe like puppet Indonesia, if we can get a large enough army. But unfortunately, Australia doesn't have a custom tech tree. It's just the default in this series, or national focus wise. I think we need to expand our civilian capacity. We need to keep an eye on foreign influence as well. And we might even, you know, if we can get our economy on track, because we were only 100 billion in debt, we might be actually better off to buy equipment from other major nations instead of producing it ourselves, because it's going to take quite a while before our production and construction and our military industrial complex is really on point. So we've got the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, so we can actually join in with them in the security pack if we want, which we're not. Okay, so we're currently producing the AUG variant. We live down under. We live upside down, and we load our magazines backwards. It's quite interesting, the AUG. I did read this article ages ago, from what I can remember. Like, why do we use the AUG? Well, from what I can remember, the Americans offered us to use their M4, but they had to produce it in the States. We would buy it off them. But apparently, Australia didn't want to do that. So they did some testing comparing the AUG and the M4, and there was some shit fuckery with it, I think, as well. Basically, Australia wanted to produce its small arms on its soil, so there was a whole thing that, like, technically it made it like the AUG was better, because the Austrians were more happy to give the blueprint for us to modify and manufacture on our shores, which is interesting. But I think most SAS, Special Forces here in Australia, actually run with an M4 or a carbine variant, as I think just like the memory, like the muscle memory of loading a magazine in the front is easier, apparently. Alright, so we need to focus on upgrading our basic economy. We need to get the construction going quick, fast. Fuel as well. We're going to need a bunch of that if we start conquering nations. But yeah, I think we'll just try and protect Australia. Build up a faction. We're going to need a huge fucking navy and an air force as well. So It's going to be interesting to see how this series goes, because this is the first time I'm playing as a really shit nation, to be honest, in the Millennium Dawn mod. As Germany and the US, they're quite large economies. Like, we're basically building everything up from scratch. We do have a bunch of resources, because we're quite a resource-rich nation. Because people don't realise this, that Australia is actually the same size, roughly, as the contiguous United States. However, we have a population of, at this point, 20 million, compared to 300 or so million in the US, which is kind of crazy. Like, people don't fully comprehend how big fucking Australia is and how much resources we have. And we mostly live on the coasts here as well. So I think getting civilian factories, then offices, all of this will cost fuel as well, so that's something to keep an eye on. We also will need to get a large navy to dominate the seas, but I don't imagine New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, some of these smaller nations in and around us probably won't be able to contend with the power of the Australian military-industrial complex. However, Indonesia is going to be a different story. I actually don't know if we're going to be able to take them on for quite a fair few months, maybe even years at some point. So let's get some augs in, the small arms for the Australian infantry. Let's get some basic equipment as well, some trains, and we'll just get a light jet as well. Jesus, look at these fucking infantry divisions. They are very bare bones at the moment, but let's try and get a couple of them in. Let's send them to New South Wales. I think that's probably the quickest point to get to New Zealand, which will be our first target. But it's got to be a lot of fun, this series. I can't wait to see how we go. It's going to be difficult. But if you are enjoying this Hearts of Iron Millennium Dawn series, we played as Germany and the US, support it, and I'll do more. You guys seem to be enjoying it, and it's good. And I'm as well. It's good to be back on Hearts of Iron 4. Our logistics isn't actually too bad, to be honest. But yeah, let me know other factions you'd like me to play as. Maybe thinking of Japan, maybe Turkey. Next time around, something a little bit different. Potentially. I just wanted to look at this. Yeah, because we've got no nuclear reactors in Australia, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. We don't even have one, from what I'm aware. There might be some small one somewhere, which I don't know about. We've got 12 divisions, 46 battalions as well. We want to try and increase that. But yeah. The sort of coal lobbying groups don't seem to like the plan of nuclear for whatever reason here. And also, I'm pretty sure the people that sell most of the uranium make a shit ton of fucking money selling it, so. As well, that's another thing. We have a crazy amount of uranium here as well that we flog off to France and the US. So we'll try and keep that going. Right, so let's rally up with the army. So we've got a couple of options. We could naturally try and change the government, or we could go to a civil war. We'll see how we go. We've also got some overseas territories that we control as well. Christmas Island, Nauru. I don't think Nauru, actually. What was the other one? Norfolk. But here is Tasmania. My home state, where I'm from. What wars are currently going on, because we could help out with them as well. But, anything we can do in Indonesia? No, we can't help out the separatists here in the north. Thought we might. Alright. So, we've got a small navy here as well. Let's unpause. We'll rally them up in New South Wales. But we're going to be slowly but surely putting in the groundwork and building up Australia to be the dominant power in Southeast Asia. Got a small air force as well, but thankfully we don't need air supremacy in the Millennium Dawn mod to go after New Zealand if you want. Oh, dude, we're taxing the population 47%. Corporate is quite high as well. But we're currently making 2 billion still. Even with those excessive spending on welfare and health benefits, which is interesting. Mostly probably due to our resources, to be fair. Alright, let's rally everyone up at Sydney. I do believe, like, that's a custom unit model, because that does look quite similar to what our infantry kind of use. What else we got here? HMS Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney, Anzac. Some cool looking names of ships. But they seem to be using like an LMG. Mostly the infantry uses augs, but I do believe the light machine gun is some variant. Oh, hang on. So, we've had the USS Cole incident. I will be helping out the states where I can as well. But I think we'll sort of go on our own path to provide our own collective security down here. We can't rely on NATO or any defense pacts down here. Because technically they do guarantee the independence of Australia, the US, but yeah, you can't really trust them in this game to come out and help. Yeah, so I think, because it's interesting, you can go with the Australia First party, you can even go down the monarchist as well. Yuck. I'd rather Australia be a republic than go full monarchy. So I think we'll start buffing the Australian Defence Force. It is kind of cool that you can do that. So they're going to be basically acting as a military junta though. Game-wise, which is interesting. So we'll try and do that. We'll see how we go. We might try and hold a vote to get them elected. Then we'll get them to ban elections. If not, we'll have our own civil war. But we'll see how we go. Which should be interesting, like... Australia never had its own civil war. We sort of inherited our Commonwealth and English values. We never really fought for them. Like, our rights like the US did. Like, I wonder how different Australia would have been if we had our own Revolutionary War. It's interesting. Anyway, this national focus tree isn't overly that impressive, unfortunately. I did have a look on the Steam Workshop for some mods as well, but there didn't seem to be any. There's a pretty cool Turkish and Japanese Millennium Dawn mod, sub-mod, so maybe I should go check that out. So it does cost a little bit to get the political power of the Australian Defence Force up. We're at 4% at the moment. We're currently boosting the party as well where we can, but it's 100 PP unfortunately. And we might even look to ban the other parties as well. But at the moment, we're slowly but surely trying to make the ADF the dominant power politically. Germany wants to invest? Sure. I think we'll just try and accept from everyone. Because we can't really be too snobby about who's investing here in Australia, because we need to get our civilian sector massively up and running. And being aggressive, being able to war deck, annex and subjugating countries, it's easier to go down the nationalist route. And I think it's like neo-imperialism as well, whatever the policies is as well. And look, we can switch it back to either of the major two parties eventually in the future. But you never know, they might come back, who knows. Alright. So they are now the third dominant party in Australia, which is fantastic. Still continuing to boost them. Alright. And we're going down the national focus, getting as much political power as we can. So we want to try and go down that route. No, we don't want to stay with the West. Yeah, so this is still a custom Millennium Dawn focus tree. I would imagine that some of the factions probably just have this, or some of the other nations. While the US, Germany, maybe some of the major factions have custom focus trees. But I don't know how many people are really playing as Australia, to be fair. Oh, we've managed to wipe out more than half of our debt, which is fantastic. Nice. Now, we will have the financial crisis in 2008, but we weren't that hard hit compared to other nations like the US. But some people still did lose their homes. Thanks to Kevin Rudd. I don't think we'll be able to see him in this series, but we'll see how we go. Or Australia's unique position or whatever. I'm sure there was multiple contributing factors. We've got no manpower at the moment, so we're going to have to install the partial draft Shit. So it looks like I could potentially... No, I'd be 4, so I can't. I won't be in the army for quite some time. I wonder if we even get to when I'm of age. I don't think so. Are we 4 now? Little old Tassie? Chilling? Yeah. So I think that's what we focus our political power on. Just trying to get the ADF in charge. And we might as well go down above all else and go down that nationalist path as well, so I think. Because we don't even need to go down economic boom just yet, because we haven't got a crazy amount of debt. Thanks to John Howard, I suppose. It's probably realistic. Switzerland joins the UN, nice. And we'll try and get rid of the corruption as well, because it can be a little bit high sometimes in Australia. Oh, here we go. We might be able to overthrow them. We might be able to get a coup d'etat going. Interesting. Okay. So we eventually want to go to that. So let's go with this to gain more political power. So once it gets to 20%, we could kick things off if we want. Oh, looks like the Indonesians dealt with their separatist forces in the north, and there's nothing really else we can do here. Because the population of Indonesia is kind of fucking crazy. Because they're just sort of a conglomerate of islands joined together. Alright. Japan, India, Korea, Germany, France, Great Britain are building civilian factories in the country. And we're nearly close to have a military uprising. I think that's what we want to go down. Right, let's get Wi-Fi. Didn't we create that? I don't fucking know. Australia had something to do with Wi-Fi, from what I can remember at the top of my head. Alright, currently go down the world views. And now we've got it to 20%. So we could, once we get the political power, yeah, get them to launch a military coup, which might be quicker than actually trying to get the ground support. And I could vote them in. Yeah, maybe we should get them to do that. Because it probably wouldn't be too hard. It just depends which states back them or join them in this civil war. Alright, we got the political power. You gotta risk it for the biscuit, so let's do it. Let's launch it. Oh, wow. So it looks like Victoria, South Australia, New South Wales has joined the ADF, while hilariously Queensland, Tassie, the Northern Territory and Western Australia seem to have joined with the Liberal government. Okay. Looks like we got most of the army though. So, we need to focus on the coastal cities first. So let's try and get you to seize Perth as quickly as possible. But the Gold Coast is a rebellious state. But here we go. Australia's first civil war in its history. Oh my god. And they've completely divided the army. We've got half of the navy as well. Manpower-wise, we don't have. So, Admiral Chris, I guess, okay, is currently acting Prime Minister or President of the ADF. Alright, so there's a little bit of a conflict here on the Gold Coast. And we'll try and get these bushmen to try and head to Perth. most of the cities and major victory points are on the coast here. So that's what we need to focus on. We'll try and get our navy to intercept the rest of the Australian Navy. And we might even look to get our Air Force in, but unfortunately we don't have the manpower for it. Alright, seems to be one infantry out in Central Australia. Literally out near Uluru. Is that it there? Yeah, I guess it is. Alright, so we've currently surrounded some infantry here. In the Goldie, so we'll try and get that. We'll push up to Bundaberg, get some fantastic ginger beer. Yeah, Bundaberg ginger beer and Bundaberg alcohol. Didn't even fucking realise. 2 different companies. Would you believe it? If I was to recommend any Australian drink, go out and get yourself some Australian Bundaberg ginger beer. Holy shit. That shit is so good. It's pretty popular in the States, I'm pretty sure. I've seen like people drinking out of copper mugs and shit. Pretty funny. Alright, so we'll try and crush this division here. They changed the flag, what? I don't know what that blue means either. Kind of weird. Alright, so we've gotten Perth. They're starting to make a push to Adelaide. Unfortunately, gonna snatch Radelaide from us. Alright, we've secured the air base in Western Australia. And hopefully we can just destroy this unit now. Nice. Let's continue to move up. Let's take the Sunshine Coast back. Oh, okay. So the Australian United Democratic Front, okay. So it looks like some other political parties taken in charge. Now, I do want to try and wrap up this war as quickly as possible. Because last thing I want is any foreign interference from anyone, any backing, because that could be quite costly for us. Alright. Continue to try and take the west. So we've lost 32, but we've managed to lose a K on the other side. If we can keep casualties down to a minimum, that would be fantastic. The lower we can keep it down, the better we can support our cause. Right, let's continue to go down with this. Alright, so they're halfway towards capitulation. So I think it is technically quicker to do this. Oh shit, I've been cut off here, hang on. Send a unit up to help to pincer them, rather than try and vote them in democratically. So, I guess role-playing in this series, the ADF has taken control to ensure Australian security down in the south. Nice. So we've got the manpower now to bring in the Air Force to help us out. So this should massively help us out. We were already making quite decent territorial gains. However, once we get air support, we should really change the tide in this small conflict. So we'll get our flyboys running. And we'll get them operating over the top of Queensland, launching from New South Wales now. Get them doing everything. And we'll repair the country if we hit any civilian factories or anything. Oh, why did you just leave that? I want you to go back to Adelaide. I'm not going to worry about Tasmania because we're going to have to navally invade I wonder if you can release states in this. It'd be curious. I'd love to do it. I'll make Tassie independent, as it should be. Yeah, I wonder if there will be sort of a referendum at one point. But kind of weirdly like the Scotland of Australia to some extent. However, we just don't have the economy to even do it. There's been like economists look into Tasmanian independence and we just can't afford it. Our fucking population has like the highest fucking alcoholism, smoking, welfare dependency. But interesting about Tassie as well, it's the size of Ireland with a population of 500k, which is absurd. And how many are in Ireland? 20 million or something crazy? There's some US state it's like the size of. Is it Iowa? No, it might be Idaho or Iowa, one of those. I have a feeling it's Idaho, but I could be wrong. Okay, so we've got one Australian brigade, the 7th, trying to take Darwin back. Most of the conflict is happening in and around the Sunshine Coast and the Goldie. You'd think you'd nearly, if we take Darwin, you'd think they'd nearly capitulate, because we have all of the capitals. Except for Hobart, which is probably holding out. But the thing is, we'd have to navally invade down there. Alright, we're doing okay. We're gonna capitulate them. This is taking us a little bit longer than what I would like, to be honest. Alright, so let's push into the interior. Let's try and take this airbase. Now, the Americans do have a military base up in the north, so we've got to be a little bit careful there. There's a fair few of those US military bases here. There's that one in the north where most of the US Marines go to. And there's also some... Isn't there some, like, CIA one? Allegedly, I think. In, the centre of Australia somewhere. The ones that we know about. Okay. So we lost 5k. Shit, we lost 70. So we've kept our casualties to a minimum, but... Yeah. We want to try and keep... a fellow Australians about what we can as well. Only a little bit longer. I don't reckon they're running any jets anyway. Oh shit, they took our air base there, which is annoying. Nice. Come on. Alright, so they've sort of fled into central Australia by the look of it. They're basically hanging out in the desert at the moment. While we control most of the fertile coastal territories. Alright, we've taken control of that airbase, but I don't think they were running any jets, to be honest. But we have buffed up our army slightly. We've gained some valuable experience. And same with the army as well. We should be able to get some land doctrines from this. Come on, just a couple more tiles. Nice. Except for one tile, we've got all of the east coast under our control. Right, keep pushing. Nice. Hey, they capitulated, and we see 600 equipment. Nice. And we've captured some bushmen. Hell yeah. So, Now the ADF is in charge. And Admiral Chris. 70% now. Nice. Pro-Western non-aligned. So our first act with the Admiral is to declare war upon New Zealand. So we need to wait for our world tension to go up. I'm sure there's other stuff we can do so we can start annexing countries quite quickly. I'm just curious to see if we can join any factions like NATO or CSTO. So they're going different, okay. Okay, so we'll eventually ban all the other political parties as well, I suppose. Nice. Well, let's repair and replenish and basically recalibrate. And we'll make plans and preparations to go to war with New Zealand after that conflict. So, no, we don't want to allow democratic elections. We'll increase our infrastructure projects. We can even change the flag if we want. No, I'd rather not. I do want to try and keep the same flag. It's fine. Alright, looking at our units. So we did lose half the army, which is kind of annoying. Oh, however, we did get 2 level 5 units. A brigade and a special forces. So is it worth it? Same with the military experience. Not too bad. But there might be some unforeseen consequences. You never know when you've done a coup d'etat. Rather than voting them in properly. And we'll make him the general staff, essentially. And we'll rally everyone up. So I think we'll set a naval invasion from Sydney. And we'll send it to, obviously, New Zealand. Okay. So we are still slowly but surely bringing in units. We'll try and do so. We've increased our manpower supply to 20k. I would like that to get a lot higher. And we don't want to do any international recognition stuff. We don't need to. Okay, so we've gone down this. That's fine. So we're quite stable politically now. So now that we're a nationalist government, essentially, in HOI, we can basically go around war decking and doing whatever we want. So we just want to try and secure the ADF's stability in charge. Our war support is 50, our stab is only 42, so we'll try and increase both of those if we can. Let's stop running those naval exercises and air exercises as well, because we're going to try and save up some fuel for this amphibious invasion against the Kiwis. And let's stop running those drills over the top as well. Alright. We might look to get the Air Force over to New Zealand as well. Might be a good idea. Alright, let's just try and make this look a little bit more pretty. Nice. So, February 2001. There's a new government in charge. So we can't go down the officers. We want to go down neo-imperialism because that's going to allow us to justify wars a lot quicker. And I would highly recommend that if you want to be actively, aggressively taking countries in Millennium Dawn. It's a little bit tricky if you play as a Western nation and sort of role play pure NATO-wise, like the US or Germany, because it's technically a defensive alliance. The best way to go around is sending volunteers and guaranteeing independence of countries that are more than likely going to end in a war. But we're going with alternative historical sort of timeline here. Same with the Germany campaign. So when you go with sort of a random future world, there can be some surprising conflicts. So that's always cool. I'm curious to see how this series sort of ends up. Alright. We can try and reduce some of the influence, but I think we're fine at the moment, to be honest. And we don't want to join China in their collective security anyway, so we can leave that. But there's really not much we can do with our political power as Australia. Like, there's not too much to spend on, same with, like, Germany, with all the EU stuff. So we might actually be able to get a bit of it. Alright, so I think we'll go with mandatory service for men and then with women as well. And we might reduce it down at some point. Because 15k isn't enough. From my experience playing as Germany and the US, and I was actively taking out most of the major factions, I reckon you can do like a world conquest in Millennium Dawn if you use your navy and your air force right with less than 1 million. So if we could get it to like 500k active servicemen, that would be superb. Anything extra would be a little bit much. Alright, let's go with that. That's fine. And we're unfortunately in a recession. But thankfully, looking at this right, we've got no debt. We're making heaps of money. So if we've got spare political power, we can go to economic boom. But I really don't need to. Like I said, we might get to a stage where we've got so much money that we just need to buy equipment from other nations. We might not even need to produce our own. But yeah, we'll have the invasion of New Zealand here today. So mark my words, I want to try and get that done. Alright, so we've got 33k manpower, that's pretty good. And we'll go with mandatory service for women as well, trying to increase that. And we want to go with global interventionism as well. Nice. That's complete. Let's increase our manpower just a little bit more. Manpower / women power now. We'll go with militarism as well. Our corruption's at 3, so we might want to increase that as well. Yeah, neo-imperialism is the one you really want to go down. If you want to be hyper-aggressive, like we do. Because you can't actually go down that if you're playing as a pro-Western nation in this game. Okay, we're doing alright. Alright, we've gone down neo-imperialism. So now, yes, we can straight up war goal New Zealand. Who else have we got? Solomons, and then we've got Papua New Guinea, and then we've got Indonesia there. Malaysia to the north. Yeah, so we can just start war decking countries now if we want. Fantastic. And let's do so. So this should be enough to deal with New Zealand. We'll see how we go with anyone else. Oh my god, okay. The creation of Greater Syria. Oh wow, okay. So it looks like they're going to make sort of an Arab Republic in the east. Huh. That's kind of cool. Anyway, let's justify a war on the South Island. It's only going to take 300 days. That's a little bit. We have to wait for our political power to grow up. And then we'll try and incorporate the Kiwis into Australia's new state. Because we could use their civilian and military factories. Because our military factories are so shit at the moment. We've only got 12. We're actually going to need to annex territory. Same with the Solomons as well. We'll try and get that going. We're probably not going to be able to go after New Caledonia, which is a close island nation near us because it's under the control of the French. But it's interesting, we could go to war with France technically if we wanted to. Alright, we're still far away from those civilian factories being constructed. Got some unassigned divisions as well. So, let's set a naval invasion from Sydney. And I think we'll focus on the South Island. We'll land in Christchurch. Because if we land in their capital, they're more than likely going to have units there. Quite often, nations keep at least one unit in their capital. So let's go for the South Island, secure it, and then we'll go for the North. We might need to set up another naval invasion. We should be able to get naval supremacy over the Tasman. And it looks like things are worsening in America. So I think I want to stand with our American allies no matter what. We don't want to anger them. So we'll try and support them where we can. in there. Operation Freedom Wars. And can we send any volunteers to the Northern Alliance? We can, but I want to focus on New Zealand first before we do any... before we send any volunteers internationally away. Alright, we're going to go down cabinet reform. Even though we don't really need to do that, we could use the political power to spend. Okay. And we can't really afford to send anyone just yet. We want to go with fast growth. We'll try and reduce the corruption as well. But things are looking good. 3D printing is being completed. We want to probably try and get more oil refineries at some point. Let's get construction 2 going. And let's get a 3D wax printer as well eventually. After this. Well. Should we send a unit to the north? I wonder if the US would get pissed if we don't. That's my only thing. It's something to keep an eye on. Okay, so what should we allocate this political power to? So we can't reduce this. We probably could increase our military spending because we've got 255 billion in the bank. Actually, it might be better off to go with globalized trade economy because that would generate even more money for us. And they want more help. The US requests help. Sure, we'll do that. Well, we've got this commando unit here, so maybe we should send that. Yeah, look, you know what? I think 8 divisions is enough to deal with the Kiwis. I wonder if 1 division will make much of a difference. But my only concern is... if the Americans get pissed off with us. So we'll send a unit to help on out. Because if the US can't take this country, they can't then go into Iraq essentially. So they need to win this. Australian consumer spends less, so we need to try and get them to spend more. Yeah, we keep on going back down to stagnation, but it's actually not overly too bad. Italy and Iran have sent volunteers. Same with Australia, so we'll send them down. We'll go here. I don't know how much of an impact they're going to have. Oh god, there's a civil war there, really? Oh wow. Emerging outlook. Okay, so they're going to be more allied to CSTO. Huh. I wonder if the US goes fully in there then. If, you know who is in control. I wonder if that might stop them. Huh. He might lose his WMDs. Alright, we need to go down to stable growth at one point. Oh wow, the Northern Alliance is doing really well. In my Germany campaign, sometimes this conflict can turn into a little bit of a stalemate. But the Australians are going on here to help out. They're doing alright. That Special Forces unit's doing really good. Yeah. It's interesting that the Persians are helping them out. Okay. Let's go down this. Oh, we've gone negative. Oh, into public order. Got to be careful. I believe in vanilla, sometimes your war justification can stop, which is rather unfortunate. But it didn't seem to dissolve. But we should be able to wrap up this war quite quickly, as we're still slowly but surely waiting for the justification to come through against New Zealand. Even with our increased defense spending, we're still making heaps of money. Nice, and they capitulated, so now the Northern Alliance is now in charge. I wonder if they'll change the government. Alright. How far we got? Oh god. Alright, still a little bit away before we can go to war with New Zealand. June. It's kind of ages away. Nice, we can probably upgrade some of the healthcare and welfare treatment as well. Same with the police. So let's upgrade them. A 47% tax, which is kind of crazy. That's how we can afford some of these governmental expenditures, I suppose. Nice. Still firmly in control as well. Alright, let's go with advanced healthcare. And university as well. Let's go with police state. Nice. We're still making money, which is kind of insane. We've got 300 billion in the bank. And they want us to join the invasion. We will. But they're actively fighting, which is kind of crazy. They've definitely been softened up. So how do I do this? Because I would like to send a volunteer force if we could. That one unit that got some army experience overseas just then is now back in Australia. Now, political power is kind of crap. If we go with this should give us a little bit more, eh? Nice. So the justification against the Kiwis has been complete. Well, let's get stuck into our first overseas war here today. Let's get naval supremacy in the Tasman Sea. Let's get the Air Force to try and reach over there. I could have built a closer air base, maybe on the coast. But I would imagine this war is probably not going to go for too long. We can even capture this airbase in the south to bring our fighter jets to operate on New Zealand soil itself. So thankfully the world tension isn't that high. It's only 12. There does seem to be an infantry defence force in Christchurch, which is delaying us. But we're coming on in on a convoy. And if we can take Christchurch here today, we should be able to use this as a base of operations. There even seems to be a river to the south as well. Come on. But thankfully, they didn't join any nation. Like, you'd think like the US or the UK would realistically guarantee their independence, but I don't know. Alright, let's try and rapidly try and take as much territory as we can as the Australian and New Zealand war kicks off. Alright, let's secure that airbase down there. Let's try and bring this unit in as well, because then we can get our jets going. Naval supremacy. I wouldn't imagine that the New Zealand Navy isn't that large either. We've got trains running logistics from Melbourne to Sydney. And let's try and take control of the southern island. Alright, we're still meeting some resistance. And the states are at war as well. Alright. Let's set a front line and get it to head north to Auckland. We're having a little bit of a logistics problem. Oh, dude. They capitulated them so quickly. Holy shit. Alright, so the Navy's doing alright. We've lost 150 to their 200. But at the end of the day, they're fighting on their homeland and home soil. With us taking half of the island, they're halfway towards capitulation. Alright. Let's go with more biofuel. Let's go with this as well. More construction and improvement, the better. I probably should get some Army Command, Navy and Air Force Command in as well. Get more Officer Corps in. A division attack, air supremacy. I think I sort of sacrifice organization time and planning. Because if you're well prepared, you can kind of negate that debuff. But it's interesting, there's sort of a cost-based analysis for some of those abilities. Maybe we should go on Strike Force to see if we can catch the Navy anywhere nearby. Alright, let's move the Air Force over because they can't reach. So we can run some planes here. And we'll see how we go. Germany wants to invest. We're slowly but surely taking ground in tiles, but they seem to be holding quite well. We'll push up and try and take Nelson. We've managed to sink 3 New Zealand convoys with HMS Sydney. Another 3 as well. Nice. So if we can continue to convoy raid, that should be able to halt their production to some extent. And we're about to push into the north of the island as well. And get the entirety of the south. But it looks like Pakistan and the UK seem to be sending us logistics to help out. So they're backing us, which is interesting. And we've got to keep an eye on the civilian populace here. Nelson should fall soon. However, yeah, now pushing into Wellington, their capital, is going to be easier said than done. First of all, it's their capital, and they've got units there with unlimited supply. But secondary, it's a river crossing, or an island crossing, so this one's going to be a little bit tricky to take. We might actually need to navally invade northward on this. We can make some inroads into the northern island. But they've done quite well in this surprising attack. Oh, nice. We've got 240k manpower now, which is huge. Not that we need it against the Kiwis, to be exact. Look, you know what? I might actually just get these units here, although they're not fully equipped, like just brute manpower, and we'll set an invasion force to Auckland. Because if we can take the north of the island, we might be able to pincer them, rather than sending some units back from this front line. We're still convoy raiding them as well. Let's go down with increasing the strength of the state. We actually seem to have air supremacy over the top as well, so we don't even need to risk those fighters. Looks like Algeria wants to help out, which is interesting. But we've actually lost more than anything. Huh. Portugal, Spain, Sweden, the UK and Finland are supporting the Kiwis, while the UK is supporting both sides. Interesting. Okay. Yes, the US still has their military bases in Australia. But it's interesting that most European countries are backing the Kiwis. That's something we need to keep an eye on. Still continuing to convoy raid. Okay, so we're going to launch a small invasion to the north. We've even dropped some naval mines to protect Bondi. And we've actually landed here unopposed. Alright, let's send the commando unit north. And we'll try and push south. If we can secure New Plymouth, Hastings and Hamilton. Alright, so we've run into some resistance. Land doctrine wise, we can unlock this now. Now we've got to be a little bit careful with these northern units because they've got very low equipment. So hang on, let's just redraw this. So I'm surprised we actually took Auckland unopposed. Thankfully. Alright, so how are our 4 units going to do? If they can just sort of brute force push through. South Africa wants to send us some logistics, nice. Oh, hang on, it looks like they've left Wellington there. No. A little bit of a bait. We're pincering them from both sides. Although losses are increasing. We've lost a K. They've lost 900. Nice, we've taken Wellington now. And we've really got them on the back foot. Come on. They're surely about to fall. How are they still holding? Nice! Kiwi equipment seized. And New Zealand has fallen. Perfect. Alright. Not too shabby with 9 units. Had to do multiple naval invasions there. But, yeah, little bit sketchy. The Australian army is still quite weak at the moment. So we're going to straight up annex all this territory and essentially make it a state of Australia now. Rather than puppeting. We need their factory. So we got 6 from them. So that's not too bad. Alright, let's have a look. So we just need to keep an eye on this. So let's install a localized police force in New Zealand and we'll bring it down. But thankfully New Zealand, same with Australia, is mostly homogenous, so we should be able to incorporate them quite easily as a state. And we'll make plans and preparations to sort of go after these next couple of islands. So got some aluminium, some steel there. And let's move everyone out, I suppose. And we'll rally everyone up. Nice. Well, let's move everyone back to Australia. We'll launch the next couple of invasions from the mainland itself. And we'll move this air force back as well. Because we won't need the armies to garrison New Zealand whatsoever. And we'll stop these convoy raidings and interceptions with the Navy. Perfect. And what's New Zealand's population? It's only a couple of million, isn't it? I can't remember exactly. And the lend leases have now stopped. World tension is now at 20%. And we've got some naval doctrines we can unlock. Same with our air force as well. Nice. Because they gained some experience against the Kiwis. Maybe let's move the army back to Queensland, because that might be closer to go into the Solomons, which we'll look to go for, and then I suppose Papua New Guinea, and then we'll see about Indonesia. But Indonesia, man, is going to be really hard. It's probably, honestly, the hardest faction to invade in Millennium Dawn. Just because of the multiple islands, it's quite tricky. You need multiple naval invasions, and their population is kind of huge, so it's going to be quite hard to tackle them. Alright, January 2003. Still firmly in control of the ADF. We've slowly built up the Australian army to 13 units strong. And we've incorporated New Zealand. Nice. And we're still, slowly but surely, securing Australia's national interest. And we're making inroads to make the Southeast Asian Defence Force faction. Which I still want to do. And let us be the sort of regional controlling power in the south. Everything's looking on point. Well, unfortunately, guys, I've got to wrap up today's video here. I've been playing for over an hour or so. So thank you very much for watching the Hearts of Iron 4 Millennium Dawn Modern Day Mod Australian Campaign Episode 1 here today. Just want to thank each and every one of you for all the fantastic support here today. So stay tuned for episode 2 coming out the exact same time tomorrow. And if you haven't already left the video a like and a sub and a comment, I'd really much appreciate it. But I've also got to say a huge thank you to this month's YouTube channel members for supporting the channel. So massive thank you to Divine Overhand, Mikey, Eric, Chuckles the Hut, Green Nero 1, Dimitri H and Hector Bay. Really appreciate those guys as we ban other parties and political movements in Australia to stop them growing. The civil unrest in New Zealand is growing a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad to deal with. But another civil war's going on over here. Kind of crazy. Yeah, because I want to try and create that united Arab faction, or Arab Union. So I'm curious to see what happens to the state's involvement over here. It's kind of crazy. Things are really heating up over here. We managed to conquer New Zealand and bring it into being a state of Australia. Here today we're going to start things off going into the Solomon Islands, which should be a little bit easier to take over than New Zealand. They shouldn't have anywhere near the size of Army, Air Force / Navy. Then we'll look to go into Papua New Guinea, and then we'll basically assess how strong our military apparatus is to maybe go after Indonesia, which will be definitely easier said than done. So we're going to set up this justification. We'll get the Navy to operate in the far north of Queensland and try and dominate the Coral Sea. We'll get our Air Force as well. They're just going to be out of reach there, but we actually might not need aerial supremacy, but we'll see how we go. The ADF, the Australian Defence Force, is currently leading the country under Admiral Chris, and we're slowly but surely building up to make the Southeast Asian Defence Force faction. That's what I want to do. We're going to make our own sort of sphere of influence down in the south, with Australia leading the charge, essentially. So we've divided the units and armies up into a 7 and a 6 unit battalion, and we'll set up this naval invasion. Okay, so we probably can centralize slightly. We've got everything maxed out as well. Healthcare, welfare, hospitals, and we've got 470 billion in the bank. So it's probably not a bad idea to go on the foreign market and buy small arms, vehicles, whatever we can get our hands on from other nations, because we've only got 20 factories generating logistics and gear. So for whatever reason, it is way too easy for our economy to start booming, because we're mostly focusing on exports, I suppose. Like, and it's not even that expensive to get more small arms and logistic equipment either. So we're nearly better off just to spend a bunch of this. So let's spend like 200 billion on equipment throughout the world, and we'll try and bring it on in. And we're still making a nice amount of income. I think it's because we start off taxing the populace so much, which is interesting. But it is March 2003. 23% world tension. Stuff's going crazy in the Middle East, as always. But apart from that, I'm curious to see how this alternative timeline playthrough ends on out. Because they're like forming factions over there for whatever reason. That's what some of those pop-ups were. So, we currently have 400k manpower. Our war support and stability is slowly but surely growing. And we currently are 244 days from having max fuel capacity as well. But things are looking good for Australia. Okay, so we've gone down all of improving the nationalist staff. We probably need to increase that to a secret police operating in New Zealand, because the populace still isn't overly happy from being, well, conquered and being brought in as a state. We're still mostly popular, 56%, but it has dropped sharply. It was at a 70% popularity. But maybe we just need to attack some of the influence and then gain some of our own. But I'd be surprised if there was another Australian Civil War, to be honest, like we had in the first episode. I could use some more steel here. Same with rubber as well. I'd rather get it from Vietnam rather than Indonesia, because we're probably going to be at odds with them soon. And we're still increasing our construction and production efficiency, which in some areas is still stuck in the bloody 90s. So we'll try and improve that. And our justification as well is slowly but surely coming along. Okay. But our political life at the moment is okay. So this is 2005 stuff. We can't even go down here. Maybe getting more onshore oil supply. More petroleum is probably not a bad idea. But everything else, I think we're fine. Okay, so how much are we going to lose? Because, oh, it was only 100. Wasn't even like that much. It was like 70 billion. Absolutely nothing. So we need man pads, some vehicles and stuff as well. So we might need to prioritize them. Yeah, so what are we operating with? British N-Laws, some Swedish equipment. Yeah, we've got a whole host of rifles here. American, our own AUG variant. German. Israeli equipment, the TAR. Nice. So that's what sort of the logistics we've got from a bunch of nations. Let's just try and get a bunch of them. Let's keep on doing this as well. Like, why not? We've got the money. What else can we spend this for? Maybe if we start war-decking countries, our debt might grow, but we'll see how we go. It's probably not a bad idea as well to build up our railways further. Maybe get some more industry now that we've got the money and we've secured ourselves politically. Like, we can't even go down any more of this stuff. We're already at huge military spending. Yeah, like, look at this. And we're still making an absolute shit ton of money. And we've got some more units here as well that we can eventually send on over. Okay, the war justification has been complete. Perfect. Let's move into the Solomons. We've run the war games, and it should be an over-resounding victory, you would imagine. Okay, let's go with Strike Force. We could even go with a convoy raiding if we want. We've increased the navy slightly with 13 ships. Mostly submarines, because that's all we can afford to construct at the moment. No, it's not the nuclear subs. We're still operating with the, I believe the subs were an old Swedish variant, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right. I think I read that somewhere. That the Swedish, without, I don't know. I bet you, wherever you are, you probably heard about the whole Australian fucking submarine debacle. Particularly if you're French. But yeah, I think they the Swedish did offer to retrofit those old subs. So we want to try and... I wonder if that's a thing we can choose. Going with French or American nuclear subs. Fucking oath. Speaking of the French, they're still hanging out down there in New Caledonia. Alright, so we've landed in the capital. And thankfully all the islands seem to be connected, so we should be able to swarm on in. And they have no army. Oh, this is going to be super quick. It's only... Are they going to fall within like 24 hours? The UK and South Africa are sending us logistics. Oh my god, we've just walked on in. And I guess we'll just try and bring this into our own territory so we can have the resources. We're still not at a stage yet where I'm comfortable enough to subjugate / puppet vassalize countries. Oh my god. So we've got the Treaty of Honiara, and let's just incorporate the Solomon Islands into another state of Australia. So who we got here? We got New Caledonia. Yeah, because I don't want to go to war with the French over it, so we might have to leave them there. So we've got Vanuatu. Alright, let's move them out. So what do we got here? So we've got Papua New Guinea, formerly German New Guinea, which is kind of weird that the Germans held this. You forget in World War II, we actually occupied this as a weird sort of state at one point. Like, we were controlling it governmentally. That was one of our first things. We took it off the Germans, which is kind of funny. And we're going to try and take it back. Alright. So, I don't even know if there was even a point of taking that for factories, because we've even lost it because we needed to trade more rubber and steel. But there might be some small resources on the island. Realistically, you would imagine just having these islands, there's a really high chance of having natural gas and other lucrative resources in that exclusive economic zone. That's why a lot of countries want those islands and stuff, especially with the hydrocarbon resources as well. So, I guess we'll roleplay sort of taking those islands for that. Okay, so I think we're going to continue to build up the Australian economy. Nice little quick war, and then we'll move on to Papua New Guinea as well, and try and incorporate them into another state of Australia, mate. Alright, let's move around back to Cairns, and we'll launch another naval invasion. Okay, so this one might be a little bit more difficult, so we're going to go land in Port Moresby. Now, hopefully they have a bit of an army, so we're going to have some action compared to last time, but we'll see how we go. So, we'll launch from sunny Cairns. We'll go here as well. And thankfully we've got an airbase in the Northern Territory, so we can probably send them over. Because we are super close to Papua New Guinea. You can probably see it from the far northern tip. I'd imagine you probably can't make that. I wonder if you can make that crossing. I'd imagine there'd be sharks and crocodiles and absolute fucking madness across that strait. But I wonder if you could do it. I wonder how far that is from Papua to far north Queensland. And could you actually, like, swim it? Oh, okay. Looks like there's a civil war going on over there. What's happened? Huh. Looks like they've split away there. Emerging, of course. Uh-oh. Things are happening over here in the Oblast. Oh, wow. As if they annexed them. What the? They're going crazy in this campaign. Alright. Let's set up these drills. So once it's complete, we can go soon in October. Nice. The justification is complete. And let's move into Papua New Guinea. Let's get the Navy. Where is it? There. To run some strike forces. Now, hopefully we don't get intercepted in our new islands. I could have launched from the Solomon Sea, but we're fine. Okay, unfortunately we got a little too few many jets here, but it's okay. We could probably send some further south. They probably can still reach. Alright, the naval invasion has been kicked off, and we are meeting some resistance here in Port Moresby. But if we can flank around in the rear guard, we should be okay. We do have air supremacy over the top. We've also landed navally. So we've got the RAF helping us out in this one. The Royal Australian Air Force. And we might need it over here because they do have some small military that we've more than likely trained, so they know our tactics. We want to try and secure the airbase as quickly as possible so that we're not running into anyone else's fighters. Port Moresby's been secured, so let's just try and secure the south here. It's a little bit tricky conquering these island nations because there's just so many individual islands that make up the nation, which is interesting. Look at, like, I didn't realize that Papua New Guinea has like 6 islands to its east there. Most of the victory points are going to be on this main island here. We're actually struggling to get into their new capital now. Alright, we're pushing firmly into the jungle. We've knocked out 750 of them. We haven't lost a single Australian. And now we're on the border of Indonesia. And they've capitulated. Nice. Oh, we've managed to seize a bunch of fuel, which is interesting. Heaps of rubber here. And we're going to take all of Papua New Guinea under our control. And rule it once again like we did in WW2. Nice. Well. Jeez. Now that we border them. How much population do we have? 500k. I think we make plans to go to war with Indonesia, but it's going to be easier said than done. Because we're essentially probably going to have to do 5 naval invasions, so we might have to skip a little bit ahead because it's going to take a little bit of while to build on up. We might just need a turtle, get ready, get a bunch of military equipment as well. I don't think we're going to have any uprisings. We should be able to keep these other nations in check. But, yeah, in my opinion, Indonesia is probably the hardest country to take in Millennium Dawn. Dude, to be fair, even in vanilla Hearts of Iron 4 with the Dutch East Indies trying to tackle them, it's just because you need heaps of naval supremacy in air. And there's so many islands with victory points. It's kind of crazy. Dude, as if they're going at each other. Oh my god. So he really is trying to create like an Arab super state. That's kind of cool. I do appreciate AI factions when they go around conquering and uniting other nations. We're putting more military factories and dockyards as well. Well, let's do it. Let's do a justification. 200 days. It's currently August now, 2004. So, another half a year. Hopefully we're ready. Oh my god, they're throwing them back as well, the Persians. So the Ruskies are backing them, okay. Now with conquering those other island nations, we've got 730k manpower. We could even maybe reduce some of the conscription if we wanted to. Oh, it looks like they're winning. Good on them. Go fucking go. Alright. Back down here. We've got most of the army on the border here. In Papua New Guinea. And then we've got the rest operating in Darwin. We've got our Air Force set up as well. And I guess we'll split everyone up. Now with our fresh equipment. To naval invade from Darwin. I think that's the play. But it's going to be interesting. Will the Australian Navy hold up against the Indonesian? It only just needs to support the naval invasions firstly. Rather than actively engaging the Indonesian fleet. But I don't know. I would imagine they have numerical naval supremacy rather than superior. So let's set up some naval invasions. Because we're going to have to take multiple islands. So let's send one to Bali. So some of the fucking Australians would know the way. Let's send one to Borneo. Which is interesting because they're actually moving their capital in real life. Indonesia, because it floods so much. I think they're moving it to Borneo, actually. So, if we're successful, we might try and puppet the country. I don't know. I have to think about it. I've increased to 35 factories now, November 2004. We currently have just over 20 divisions as well. I'm currently trying to get some better quality fighter jets. We're still trying to upgrade the Australian economy. But it's only going to be a matter of time before this justification is complete. Only 100 more days. And this is essentially make or break for the series. Because if we can't defeat Indonesia here today, we're not going to be able to really go after anyone else. Like, this is our big test. Hopefully, we've got enough levels. We're battle hardened. We've got the experience. But this could be a crazy conflict to come, as we're pushing into 2005 now. Alright, March now, 2005. The invasion of West Papua has been confirmed, and hopefully we can do it. Oh my god. So, if we can tie down most of the army on the island of Papua, that would be a good idea. We'll get those naval invasions going. We've got a bunch more infantry coming. Now, we're using the default templates because we just don't have the experience or the manpower to have huge divisions like the US. But here we go. Hopefully we can do it. We've got the Air Force over Papua. We've got the Navy in as well. We've got a bunch of fuel, which should last us. Okay. So we've got a couple of squadrons. We'll try and get them to Borneo. We might try and prioritize capturing as well air bases so we can bring them over from Australia, because most of the Air Force is operating in Papua New Guinea, the former territory, mostly from Western Australia and the Northern Territory as well. Our Navy's quite large, but they just need to essentially run with some naval support and security for our divisions. So the naval invasions have been launched, and fierce fighting is happening on the border. We are winning, but we're definitely losing in some areas as well. Okay, they've for some reason left the center there of the country vulnerable. And Turkey? Italy are sending logistics. Okay, nice. So we've landed. Well, let's try and seize the capital, Jakarta, as quickly as possible. Let's move into the north as well. Make sure everyone's on aggressive. We've landed in Borneo. So, now that we have the ports, the more tiles we can take, the better. And then if we come into resistance, we'll hold up. Alright. But yeah, it seems like they put a lot of their units in Papua, which is interesting. Alright, let's get the next land here. Okay, nice. We've got this airbase under our control. So let's get the fighters that are in Western Australia to land, and we'll try and get them to run air supremacy drills over the top. We'll try and take this other airfield down here as well, because air supremacy, dude, I talk about it so much in Millennium Dawn, it's vital. Alright, we've run into some forces here, but we're taking a lot of Borneo, which is nice. But that's the thing, man. Indonesia's tough because you've got so many of these islands you have to deal with. We're literally fighting on 4 fronts. Alright, we seem to have naval supremacy by the look of it. We could switch to strike force, but I kind of don't want to start raiding or going against their navy. England seems to be helping us, or Britain. Okay, let's continue to try and take more territory. Half of Borneo is now under our control, but now they're dropping troops. We're about to take the entirety of the southern island here. Nice. We've taken territory. Unopposed, but now it's starting to turn into a bit of a stalemate. Now that we're actively fighting. But we are winning in some tiles, not in Borneo there. Jakarta's looking a bit better. We might need to run... maybe move the Air Force here. Alright. So they are still holding out on some of that front line. While we're winning other... oh, we're getting pushed back here in Jakarta. Nice. Things are looking good. But it is very, very close here. Nice. If we can push towards the capital. Because now we've got essentially 14 or so units here. Let's continue there. We've got a bunch of military factories and dockyards now. We've got an ace pilot. Hell yeah. We've got Maverick flying in the side. Giving us air support over the top. Yeah, they seem to be really holding out here. Well, let's try and surround them. Oh, nice. Okay, so that air support's really helping out. Let's move you here, because then we want to help over Borneo. I actually don't know the names of some of these islands. I need to learn them. Okay, we're flanking well. But what to do with a lot of this territory? We're going to be able to secure the world rubber supply, essentially. But to be fair, the population is going to be insane. If we can use some of that, that'd be nice. Okay, we're doing well here. We're slowly but surely gaining territory, but we are getting caught off. There is some stalemates in some areas, but overall we're looking good. We're looking really, really good. We're about to surround a bunch of divisions there that we can hopefully crush. We're improving our fighter capacity, but to be fair, we seem to have decent air supremacy even with inferior fighters. So it looks like they won their war in the east. Nice. Unfortunately, they're getting surrounded. They seem to be holding here, though, in the north. If we can free up our units here, that would be really beneficial. But now that we're out of fuel, the war is really slowing down. Our advances. Alright. Let's move the navy out. I don't think they really can do much more. But we've probably taken half of their territory, to be fair. I'm still wanting to get better quality fighter jets, because that's what we can focus on now that the economy and production is maxed out, stats-wise. Oh my god, we've knocked out 31k. Crazy. And they're slowly but surely going to capitulate as well. They're putting up a really good stand here, though. It's just these small pockets here. Nice. We're about to secure this island. But overall, we're definitely winning. Alright, there's a small little enclave holding out here. Nice. Well, once Pop was secure, we should be able to send them over to the Jakarta front to help on out. And we're still running with aerial supremacy as well. But supply and logistics and just sort of the jungle and forest and mountainous terrain in some of these islands would be really quite tough to move on through. And they're also very narrow as well. Alright, it's rose to 44k. We've got 3 more units here as well, so let's move them from Darwin. Probably, yeah, try and hit this, like another smaller island. God, like some of these don't even connect as well. You actually have to manually navally invade, which is kind of crazy. Oh, okay. We're doing okay, but we're just being pushed back slightly. We've nearly got all of Borneo under our control. It's this last little sort of island here. Once reinforcements come from Papua, we should be okay. We're weirdly struggling here. We're pushing here. Once we navally invade here. Okay, nice. So it's gone from about a 50-60% towards capitulation. Now it's about a 70%. So maybe even 75% to our favour. It's looking real good. Well, we're about to win over here as well. We might be able to get all of Borneo under our control. Slowly but surely bringing the island chains of Indonesia under heel. So hopefully, if we're successful here today, we should be able to divide up the country. My god, there's still multiple wars going on now. Oh, they didn't last too long. They capitulated as soon as they were war decked. Okay. So, we're doing okay in multiple areas. They seem to be holding in Borneo for now. And we might be able to push westward in the island of Jakarta as well. We're getting the Australian economy back on track. We currently have 60 factories, which is outstanding, seeing as we only started off with 10. And we've got just a couple of decisions to make about the islands. Some of you guys want me to pop it. Some of you guys want me to take all of it. So, when we get to it, we'll make a decision. Because I'm still yet to fully decide on what to do. Alright, looks like the UK and Turkey want to send us some logistics. So what's going on over here? My god, it is so back and forth. Oh, so they capitulated them. Interesting. My god. The amount of wars going back and forth there is kind of crazy, even without American help. So, in the last couple of episodes, we conquered New Zealand and Papua New Guinea. And we're going to get to a stage where we're going to be able to get this ring of steel approach that I was going for. If we can control all of the islands north of Australia, that would be brilliant. And we can use that as sort of the front line to any foreign aggressors. And we're going to be able to essentially put the navy in and around these islands and defend Australia quite easily. We'll use the islands of Indonesia sort of like as a first line of defense, I'm thinking. So we've nearly got 1 million manpower as well. That's mostly because we're on conscription rather than a draft at the moment. So we're going to have to break that down. We've got a bunch of political power because, unfortunately, there isn't too much to do political power-wise, because we are using a default tech tree. I would love to see an Australian national focus tree if there was one. Maybe there's some modders out there. But so far, even with the essentially base default Millennium Dawn focus tree, it is still very enjoyable and still very playable to play as Australia. But you just don't have those unique political events like the US and their internal politics, and same with in my Germany campaign, we had to deal with the political machinations in the EU. Alright, we're slowly but surely upgrading our air force as well. Nice. So we've won here on the island. There's still a couple more left. So we can probably move these divisions. Where exactly? I think we need it over here to go and help out, because they're really making their final stand here. But so far, thanks to our multiple naval invasions, we're in a really good position. But man, like I said, trying to take control of the entirety of Indonesia is just a little bit hard, because they're such narrow islands, very low supply and logistics, and they have the population as well. Right, so let's drop the conscription requirements. So let's go back to a draft, because we had that earlier when we didn't have New Zealand and a couple of all the other island states in. We probably can go with upgrading the army slightly. We've gone through our political stabilization. We've got an upgraded AUG variant that we can use as well, which seems to have a 5mm grenade launcher on the front of it, which is sick. Can't wait to use them. We'll continue to push over here. There's a couple other small islands we might need to launch an invasion. It's ballooned to 100k. We've lost 7k, which isn't too bad, seeing as we lost a k in New Zealand. But overall, now that we're pushing on the final stretch here, we've got basically all my divisions focusing in here, and Borneo's capitulated as well. Perfect. Yeah, let's just get everyone over here. We'll focus on this push. But like I said, this is make or break. Luckily, we put in the hard work recruiting and constructing, and we got our debt to 0. We've got 500 billion in our war chest, and we were able to buy essentially the equipment to go after them. It's taken us 5 years to get into a position, so it is doable, but you do need a decent air force and navy to some extent. Although we don't, it's not like quality-wise. Like, we probably wouldn't be able to square up against a major faction, but just having the numerical supremacy's really just helped us out in this one. We've got a small navy, so we can't go like having a strong fleet. So I guess we go with this one. Okay, they've engineered a backdoor system to us. 7k now, it's nearly hit 100. So is it worth naval invading some of these smaller islands? Potentially. But even this, right? 7 Australian divisions against 1 Indonesian. It's actually holding us there. Unfortunately, the ADF political parties dropped to about a 45 percentile popularity, which is a pretty big percent. We could even probably drop this further to volunteer service. We obviously don't want to abolish the military, but now that we're going to get a lot more population from these newly acquired islands, we probably can drop it further. It's not like we haven't got the political power to spend and do so. Oh, they're about to capitulate. Only a little bit longer now. Nice. And let's just swing this over as well. So if you do play your own Australian campaign, if you conquer neighbouring islands, it takes about 6 years before you can be comfortable enough to go against Indonesia. But hey, we capitulated them. Nice. Oh my god. That was a hell of a fight. A little bit hairy there and there, here and there. So we can liberate Timor-Leste. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Look, I kind of see the argument for both. I kind of want to take territory so we can get the pop, the resources, and particularly the civilian factories. But also, I wouldn't mind leaving Indonesia at one point. Maybe you know what? Sending the new capital's going to Borneo anyway. How about I puppet everything but Borneo? And because it is, I do quite like having puppets. For example, they could help me out navally because the AI can make naval engagements far quicker than I ever could. We also can get volunteer forces for them. So I think all these island chains in the south, for example, will get under our control, and I'll puppet Indonesia here in Borneo. I think that's what we'll do. And we could even give them the entirety of the island if we go after Malaysia next. So I'll take all this under my control. We'll control this with our own forces, because most of the population is around here as well. So we'll do both. We'll take control of most of the Indonesian islands under Australian control, and then we'll leave some remnants of the government here. And they are now a nationalist outlook. And also, I should be able to make a faction with them eventually as well. Because one of the easier ways to make factions in HOI is to have a puppet, a vassal, or a subject under your control. But look at this. We've managed to create a bit of a buffer zone in this island chain. So if we can put our navy through there, we could nearly blockade anyone from coming and attacking the Australian mainland. Okay, so we probably could prohibit them as well now. Because, like, we've got 76 factories now. Nice. I would like to increase my naval dockyards, though. Quite a bit. We also want to get some higher fuel reserves as well. But we can go with military factories now. It's been 5 years or so. Okay, I've gone through and restructured the navy slightly, and we can probably go down and get more experience. So what's even going on here? So NATO's not doing their thing. Oh my god, Italy left. Switzerland and Austria have made their own faction. Okay. Oh wow, it looks like the axis of resistance has grown massively as well. Okay. So it looks like the US have been sort of thrown out of there. Then we've got the Shanghai Pact to the east as well. Interesting. Yeah, American influences has been thrown out. I wonder if they'll make a play there anymore. Because they did capitulate them. Anyway, looks like Pakistan is guaranteeing their independence for whatever reason. But I guess we look to go after another faction eventually. Well, I think we go after Malaysia. So it's interesting that half of it is actually on the north of Borneo. Unfortunately, Singapore stands between us and the rest of Malaysia there. Now, we're probably not going to go after them. Singapore, that is. They're a one-tile nation. They've got a bunch of armies there. So, I think unless we take Malaysia, it's going to be quite hard to go after them. Like, I think it's Brunei are currently there as well. I think it's ruled by a sultan, Brunei. I could be wrong. So, some of these smaller factions we might not go after because it's just not worth it. Justifying. Okay, so we're currently improving our anti-tank equipment. We're getting 4th gen bombers and better quality fighters in as well, because now we've got the factories to do so. So, oh, looks like Greece is going to leave the EU. Interesting. It's mostly the UK and Sweden from time to time. Wow. So it looks like Greece are going to have their own Brexit. Well, let's try and navally invade in the north. Now, thankfully, these islands are really quite close together. Oh, wait, hang on. Indonesia has a little bit down there in Singapore. Huh. I didn't know they owned those islands there. Anyway, let's set up 2 naval invasions. And we'll go after Malaysia, which should be a little bit easier of a country to take compared to Indonesia. And we'll slowly but surely make our way up to Thailand and maybe try and look to target Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and a couple of other island territories as well. And then we'll sort of check our army to maybe deal with China. We'll see how we go. We might be able to tackle them. Alright, we're currently, for the first time, losing money, 2.7 billion, but thankfully we've still got a bunch in our war chest. Okay, so we're going to start justifying against Malaysia now. We've got 2 naval invasions, and then we can attack from Indonesia itself. Venezuela's currently at war. Interesting. Yeah, look at this. So they've got a bunch of units there. Singapore, which is kind of interesting. We also currently have around about 55 divisions, which is quite a bit. Well, it looks like Malaysia does have about 8 or so. The non-aligned party is growing. But for whatever reason, we are hemorrhaging a little bit of cash. We're still 100 days before we can get our fuel to capacity. Global trade. We currently still have a surplus in most of our stuff. Thankfully in rubber. We don't ever need to worry about that. And those military factories have nearly been constructed as well, which is fantastic. But we're in a really good position. Australia is at the moment. Nice. Okay. Whoa! As if they just went and did that. Oh wow, that's pretty early. 2006. I wonder if anyone's going to get involved in that then. Oh wow, so things have kicked off. Alright, those... Jesus. We're trying to modernize our Air Force, going from the 60s class fighter to the 80s. It is 2006. Oh my god. So, by the time we sort of start producing some of these, the newer variants are probably going to be out. So, even with changing our conscription policy to now volunteer, we still have a whopping 700k manpower. So maybe we need some officers in Victoria, New South Wales, just to give us some more money. But you got to remember that does cost fuel. That's something to keep an eye on. Okay. Nothing else we can go down that side of the tree. Same with the militaristic stuff as well. We could maybe please the upper class. We can't go down this stuff, even though it gives us extra research slots, which kind of sucks because you have to go down more religious stuff for whatever reason. It's kind of annoying that it's tied to that. Alright, we're currently going with economic boom. We're currently at total war as well with our governmental expenditures. We're still losing a little bit of money, but we still got so much fucking money. It's insane. Our economy's sublime. Okay, we can request 1 Indonesian unit. Hell yeah. But the main reason why I puppeted them, so they can control their own air force. Same with the Navy as well. They might even be able to set up their own naval invasions. Okay, so Singapore's guaranteeing the independence of Thailand. Interesting. Yeah, so look at this. That's actually quite densely packed. I don't know if it's worth it. Like, maybe they've got a bunch of money. The banking sector would be insane. We could loot the central bank of Singapore. But, I don't think so. And mostly other countries' equipment there. Let's send them back. Nice. So we're at 6 billion now. We're making money. Yeah, so we can't go down this. That's a little bit silly. We're just waiting now for this justification to complete against Malaysia, and we'll try and incorporate another country into Australia's defence alliance and sphere of influence. Nice. The justification has been complete. And let's kick off another military invasion. We've got some spare units here as well. I've changed my recruitment depot to Darwin because we're operating mostly in the north of the country. Obviously earlier we were operating mostly in the eastern states because we're going after New Zealand and whatnot. Alright, so we've got plenty of fuel. We've got plenty of air bases nearby. So the fighters will be able to dominate the air quite easily then. Well, even in the invasion of Indonesia. So, let's get these flyboys running their drills. We'll send those reinforcements over. We'll go with naval invasion support. And I would imagine that Malaysia's strengths lie in their military more than anything. Okay, let's get those reinforcements over. And let's do it. Now, I will need to call in Indonesia if I want to attack from within their territory. And they are my vassals, so they will accept. Wow, there's a lot of actually units there, but we are winning. We have air supremacy over the top. And we're just waiting for those naval invasions to kick off as well. Oh, have I stuffed up here? Hang on. Why aren't they going? Oh, shit. Hang on. Are they not... Is that not on the... Oh, sometimes in HOI, it's a little bit deceiving as to where the port is. There's no units on this order. Right, they went in. What? Vietnam's at war with the Philippines? What the fuck? What? Looks like they're half going? Alright, anyway, we've got this conflict up in the north, and the UK once again is supplying us with equipment, which is interesting that they keep on doing that. Maybe because we're technically still a part of the Commonwealth. Like, that'd be cool if there was like a republicanism national focus tree. Like, I think there's a lot you could do with Australia. I'm sure it's on the list. But there must be plenty more countries that arguably deserve a unique national focus tree. Right, so we've landed, so we can just swing everyone in now that we've got the port. Yeah, Brunei is like weirdly there. A small little, nearly landlocked country. Alright, we're carving up Malaysia now, like carving a cake. And it's only going to be a matter of time before they fall. We've also got some Australian drones that we can get as well. Oh my god, we lost 200 to their 3k, crikey, and they've capitulated. Hell yeah. Well, let's unite all of Borneo. Yeah, let's unite all of this and give it to Indonesia. Nice. That looks cool. Yeah. And I'll take this over here, I think, under my direct control. It's kind of weird, like, some of these countries, like, don't even... like, border geography-wise. Like, they probably could nearly rule themselves. like all these small little islands. It's interesting. I haven't really zoomed too far in this sort of area of the map in quite some time. And we've got some island territory here in the Spratlys. Oh god. We can also get an agent as well. I haven't even been bothering with the agency and La Résistance stuff. I guess we'll send you to Beijing, whatever. To be fair, because it costs like 5 civilian factories to do anything. So we didn't even have that earlier on. But, oh, whoa, 144k they've lost. Holy shit. That's quite a bit. But it's interesting that they're attacking them in 2006. It's pretty early on the timetable-wise. But anyway, we've taken Malaysia here today. And I think we go up into Thailand, I suppose. And maybe try and conquer some of these other countries as well. Japan's chilling. Because sometimes they can get involved. Okay, so let's justify the conquest of Thailand. I've moved my military forces over. Dude, our army has grown significantly. So we've got a coalition of forces in this defensive alliance, in the Australian Defence Force. We've got Kiwis, we've got Indonesians, Malaysians now, all fighting for now collective Southeast Asian security. And we'll eventually make it a faction as well, adding to the other various factions going on in the game. CSTO, NATO, the Swiss and Austrian Alpine Alliance, and the Shanghai Pact in the north. Interesting that there's a lot of factions gaining prominence in this HOI4 playthrough. May now, 2007. And the justification against Thailand has been complete. We've got more military forces heading on over. And let's have this war against Thailand. We might need to set up some naval invasions, but we will see how we go, because it's quite a thin way to get up here. They border with like Myanmar as well. But if we can hit them with overwhelming force, we should be okay. Let's set up the navy to go with another naval invasion. And let's deal with them. Oh, so they're Western outlook, because sometimes... Yeah, because technically aren't they controlled by the army now? I could be wrong. Anyway, war's been declared, and we'll push over the Malaysian border. And then we've got a decision to make with Thailand as well. We might take the... Boris is in charge in 2007? What? Okay. Okay, we knocked out 8k. Kind of crazy that he's in charge this early. After being overthrown in the recent weeks, though. Now, I'm nearly tempted to probably puppet Thailand. We'll see how we go. Because we could even puppet them and maybe give them... Like, if I can make one... sort of consolidated faction in the north, like that might be a good idea. As we're slowly but surely getting away from Australia, our capabilities of really controlling some of these other factions become unrealistic. We currently have 110 factories at our disposal, so we might get some territory here and there, but we actually might be now if we go after any other faction, mostly puppeting, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so there's only 2 tiles here. 3 at most, mostly 2, but we are struggling to push through there. Even though we have a whopping 50 divisions, we really we'll need to start navally invading into the capital. We could go for Bangkok, but unfortunately, it's the capital, so we might be better off hitting the coast here like this. And we'll try and rapidly take the north. Alright, let's try and blitzkrieg that. Nice. We're rapidly taking their territory. You've always got to be wary navally invading into a capital in HOI, because quite often there's units there and they do have unlimited supply in their capital, so they can basically stop you from getting in there. But we're taking most of the north now. If we can get this naval base, that would be fantastic to stop any potential threat of air supremacy. We've knocked out 50k, and look at this. Essentially what's happened here is they've moved their units from that front line back up to where the rest of the country's being overtaken. Oh my god, we've just absolutely overrun them there. Holy shit. They were really holding me in that choke point. Dude, that naval invasion worked perfectly. And they are moments away from capitulating now, you would imagine. Dude, how are they still holding out? There's 3 tiles left and this country still hasn't fallen. What the heck? Alright, let's get some more close air support. We're slowly upgrading the Air Force from the 60s variant of planes to now the early 90s. Let's get some more dockyards in, because we've buffed up the army, we've buffed up the civilian infrastructure, now we've got the military factories, the Air Force is coming along. We can now focus on getting a larger navy if we are to protect and defend these islands that we've acquired. But they're still holding out here. You got to give it to them. Nice. They're fallen. Yeah, but look at this. They're still holding here in their capital. Sometimes if you're getting swarmed as a nation as well, you're actually sometimes better off to try and hold it. And they've capitulated. Perfect. Well, I think what we do is I'll conquer what I want to control. So let's get all of this under our control. Hang on. Yeah, so let's just get all this, whatever this peninsula is called. And then I think I'll puppet the rest and kind of do the same with Indonesia. And if we get Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, we'll all give it to Thailand. Or essentially make it sort of the Siam Empire again. Nice. So, I would make us a faction now if I could. But in the green is collectively what we control. We've united Southeast Asia together against any other potential threat. So we'll try and improve our relations as well. And we've installed a new government in both places. Because you don't want to try and keep some of these Asian allies on side. Okay. Currently upgrading the navy as well. Oh yeah, Greece left NATO. Same with Turkey and Italy. Oh my god. Yeah, thankfully we're sort of moving away from NATO and the American sphere of influence, because they've got so many members leaving by days. It's kind of crazy. They seem to be kind of weak in this series, to be fair. They've lost control in the Middle East, and they're losing their grip on NATO as well. It's kind of realistic that if America fell or was weakened, Australia would have to deal with their own sort of collective security issues and ensure their own defense. Not really much else we can do politically. We've got 1,500 political power. And it looks like Indonesia's starting to, as well, build out a navy. Yeah, so this is what we control in our territory. Oh yeah, they're starting to build some, like, proper ships. Even on just Borneo, which is interesting. Anyway, unfortunately, guys, we've got to wrap up the video here. Thank you very much for watching episode 3 of the Hearts of Iron 4 Millennium Dawn Modern Day Mod series as Australia. The world is building certain factions around the world, and so are we. So, stay tuned for episode 4 coming out tomorrow, where we continue to try and conquer Thailand's neighbours and essentially bring them under direct control. And then we'll see how we go. We might be able to go after some of these major factions. And we're slowly but surely becoming the dominant power in Southeast Asia. We've puppeted Thailand and Indonesia, and we've conquered a bunch of island territories. So we're going to be going after Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar, maybe even the Philippines here today, Japan. We'll see how we go, and then we'll sort of reassess our position. So let's get a couple of these justify war goals going, because it's going to take a bunch of time to do so. So let's queue a bunch of them up, and then hopefully we can rapidly bring all this into Thailand's sphere of influence. So if we can make this one, like if we can unite all of these nations here into one without direct controlment, I think that's what we want to do. And then we've secured territory essentially within the Asian mainland. We've got well over 1,000 political power. We've got 1 million manpower in reserve, even with a volunteer force. We can move our air force to Thailand itself. We have 134 factories, which is fantastic. And we have a whopping 781 billion in the bank, which we can spend on getting more foreign equipment from the global market if need be. But so far, everything is looking up for Australia. Alright, so we're slowly bringing down some of the oversight in these countries, because we've been holding them from some time now. We can mostly go back to civilian oversight, which is fantastic. Alright, so that war goal is complete. Let's go into Cambodia. It is now January 2008. So, just skipped a little bit ahead so we can get stuck into this war first up. Now, I'm curious to see how these other nations will sort of hold up against us, as Indonesia and New Zealand early on were the real big tests. I'm curious to see their backing now. Alright, so... oh my god. They're probably only going to last 48 hours. Holy shit. We were taking so much territory. I had to slow down the game speed. Oh my god, we are absolutely blitzkrieging on our way through, because we've got 80 or so divisions under our control, and it fell within only a couple of days. Oh my god. Well, I think what I'm going to do now is give all of the territory to Thailand. Well, the Siam Empire that we're creating at the moment. We'll make them sort of the regional government. Nice. And let's probably move up to Laos to incorporate them, I suppose. So I think we're going with a combination. Puppeting factions, strengthening our allies, and we've taken some territory previous in the campaign, but we probably don't really need to control any of this territory in our direct involvement. We've got our trade on point. We're exporting a bunch of it. We've got the military, factories, and civilian, and same with the population as well. So strengthening our allies and having strong allies in Southeast Asia is vital. Alright, so we've gone away from upgrading our jets, and we probably can upgrade our vehicles as well. Let's get some more bushmen in. Bushmasters, rather. Okay, we've got dockyards coming, and those military factories are being complete. So, I think now we can start to bolster our fuel capacity and also our generation, if we are to go to war with any of these major powers around us. We struggled with a lack of fuel in the Indonesian invasion. We can't afford for that to happen again. But we've nearly finished the national focus as well for Australia. Okay, that war justification for Laos has been complete. We've got 2,000 political power. It's a shame we can't spend it. We can't just do anything with it. Alright, let's go with convoy raiding in and around. Laos is a landlocked country, but you never know. They might have a lend-lease somewhere in Vietnam or something. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so will they hold longer than Laos? I don't know. We'll call in our allies so we can push from the Indonesian border. There is a slight delay because they have to accept Australian forces attacking from within Thailand territory. And once again, it looks like another one of these. Oh my god. Hours. We are absolutely steamrolling through. It takes longer, like nearly 60 times longer to get the justification going before, compared to how long the war lasts. And we've brought another country under Thailand's direct control. Yeah, so if we can get a bunch of these, we can really strengthen our allies. And then they can get more forces as well. Also, if we can create a couple buffer zones between us, Japan and China and stuff, that's a good idea as well. Strengthen these states with us still being the puppet master overall. Alright, let's make a front line here. Wow. A full division can't actually stretch from all of Vietnam, so we'll try and go to war with them. Interestingly enough, they are currently already in an active war with the Philippines, so they're probably already weakened / preoccupied. I might have to have a look at that as we make plans and preparations to strike Vietnam. We're back here again, boys. Okay, it's probably not a bad idea as well to get some ships. We haven't even got missile subs, nor do we have aircraft carriers. They got 500 days. That's pretty cool. They're just so expensive. We're going to need to secure a bunch of steel as well. Alright, we've gone down construction and stuff. What's going on over here? We can probably look to bolster the security sector. Asia and whatnot. So Syria and Greece have an alliance. Italy's now split up, and Niger are currently in NATO. Okay. Weird that they've joined the defensive alliance. Yeah, so I can't join any of these factions that have popped up, because there's quite a few, just for my own curiosity. Huh, cool. Dude, they're at it again. There's been constant power shifts here. And the US really isn't involved in either. Oh my god, there's another faction here. The Baltic Black Sea Union. Wow, they've made their sort of Mesmors thing. And they've invited Romania. Yeah, because NATO's sphere of influence has been weakened significantly. A bunch of factions have left. It's interesting that Greece has formed its own faction. Which is surprising. Okay, this justification against Myanmar, I think, is going to finish, yeah, first. So, I've had to move my units to Myanmar, even though I was preparing. I thought the one in Vietnam was going to go earlier. So, let's move over here. And we'll have to wait for the Vietnam one. We might be fighting on two fronts, but we'll see how we go. I swear I did the Vietnam one first before Myanmar. No, I definitely did. For some reason, maybe they calculated it quicker. Alright, so we're going to struggle in this little section here. Yeah, it's just these one-tile points. Slovenia has triggered Article 50. Yeah, Greece, Slovenia, the UK are all leaving the EU for some reason. It's just the RNG of the campaign. For whatever reason, EU and NATO collective security is weakened. And we're pushing into Burma now. It's been what? 70 years or so since Australians were POWs in and around here. Oh, we've managed to sink some convoys. They're perfect. And once this is wrapped up, well, they seem to be giving a bit more resistance. We've lost 10 Australians, though. Our air supremacy is really just helping out, because we can identify, strike, and hit infantry targets, and they capitulated just then. Oh my god. Well, I might actually take this slither to come under my control, because we already have half of this peninsula anyway. So I think I'll take that for Australia's direct control. And god, there's like 4 countries like between them. I don't know if we're going to bother going for them. Let's just bring it in to Burma and have the Thai-Burma nation connect. Nice. So it's fully under Thai control. And we'll swing everyone back to Vietnam. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think they might have actually rebelled from Myanmar or something. Yeah, but there's no point in going after these smaller nations. Same with like Singapore and stuff. Alright, so let's try and take Nam for Australia. Okay, the justification is complete. April now, 2009. And yeah, so they've already lost 91k to the Philippines 23. 100,000 losses have already been attributed before we're even coming on in. They are massively weakened, so this might be a lot quicker than what you would think. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why they're at war. We actually might even look to go to war with the Philippines, but that's a little bit harder as well because it's quite a diverse island nation, so we're going to need multiple naval attacks. So we'll move everyone over. We'll switch to the Navy to convoy raiding on the coast here. To be fair, maybe some of the Navy is distracted. Oh, they've actually got some military forces down in the Spratlys. Oh shit, that's rather unfortunate for them. Fighting over those tiny islands. But our Navy has grown significantly as well. 52, jeez. I'm just sort of comprehending it from the start of the campaign, where we started off with 10 or so. Those dockyards have really served us well. So we've got 1.6 manpower here now. War support is still quite strong in the country. It's mostly because we've got such a huge war chest. Yeah, I think we need more stuff to spend it on. Anyway, if we can cut off and divide the country in half, divide and conquer it, we should be okay between north and south. But so far, they seem to be holding. They're probably more militarily experienced than some of these other nations. Oh, dude, we're actually not getting air support supremacy here. Shit, hang on. We need to change that in Indochina. Pretty sure it's not called that anymore, this region. But we are going to be bordering with them soon, which is interesting. Okay. So, if the Philippines land and help out, I will give some of the mainland to them, but if they don't, I would say we're the ones that are going to deserve this territory. No, they don't seem to be landing at all. To be fair, we actually probably want to go to war with the Philippines. But no, they haven't even taken any Vietnam territory, so I don't think they deserve it. Nice. We've managed to... Oh, wow. We actually sunk 9 corvettes. Holy shit. HMAS Anzac went to town there. Need to remember the A. HMAS. The Australia part is important. Alright, so they are holding out in some areas, but now we've divided the country perfectly. And we should be able to conquer them in time. And once again, we'll bring this under direct Thailand control. Nice. Dude, our small arms are off the charts. So we don't even really need to buy any of the modern equipment anymore. And we'll do the same and give it all to Thailand. Hell yeah. Nice. Oh, this border gore there. It's like one united nation. Perfect. So we'll put some units on the border with the CCP, and then we'll go after the Philippines. But you can barely see them because they're the same color as the water in this mod. I might just conquer them for that. So I can see them. They're like nearly hiding. We still can't create a faction though, which is annoying. I think we have to complete the tech tree first, or the national focus tree. Okay, well, I suppose we try to go after the Philippines. Now, we've got to be a little bit careful, because the Philippines was obviously it's sort of like a weird overseas colony of the States at one point in its history, wasn't it? They've had their own sort of coups and stuff and military control of the island, so we've got to be careful if they do guarantee its independence. The last thing I want is an Australian-US conflict, but if we're quick enough, we should be okay. Now, thankfully, a lot of these islands connect, but I think we go with multiple naval invasions. They did lose 20k in the Vietnam War, so they should be a little bit softened up. Nowhere near as much as Nam. It's going to take 200 days to get this justification complete. And we should as well have Thai and Indonesian support. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Philippines. I could puppet them. I could just give them under Indonesian control, because then we can see the islands. Because they have a nice, bright, white/creamy faction color, Indonesia. So we can actually see the islands, rather than puppeting them. I might just simply do it to that, just so we can see them. Alright, let's set up these multiple naval invasions, and hopefully some of them come off. As we now have, geez, we have over 100 Australian divisions. That's mostly because they're not the largest either. But they still seem to be really effective. Even they're nowhere near as large or as widthy or lengthy compared to the US divisions. But they seem to be working quite well overall. Oh god, what the hell? Alright, there's 3 Koreas going at it. Interesting. So the South had a civil war. They switched to emerging. Huh. That's crazy. There's like a battle royale going on here. Dude, if the North had just pushed south over the DMZ, they'd probably lose. Alright, we can request 7 military forces now from Thailand. Nice. And let's have a look at what they're operating with. So some of them are running with Thai equipment. Not too bad. So we're also going to be able to get more divisions from our allies. So let's move them to the border. They can defend the position from their homeland. And we also can get units a lot quicker, because at the moment we only can recruit our units from Darwin itself and send them over. Okay, I'm focusing purely on naval research at the moment. Oh, okay, so now... Wait, what the fuck? Oh, so now they've united together. Dude, Korea could fall. One of these factions could unite the peninsula. Crazy. Oh, nice. So we should be able to go to war with the Philippines now. December 2009. Nearly been 10 years in this series. Alright, let's get these going. And we should be able to bring the Philippines under our control as well. Indonesia does seem to have a bunch of navies as well. So we can do our own supporting naval invasion while they can do whatever they want. Also, they can probably stop any amphibious attacks to our own territories as well. Hopefully. Let's make sure they're going over every path. And some of these naval invasions should be able to deploy. Unfortunately, some of our fighters can't reach. So in the early phases of the war, there will not be Aussie air supremacy in the Philippines. Because the RAF, the Royal Australian Air Force, can't reach to Manila. We'll call in our Indonesian and Thai allies to try and help out. We're already meeting some resistance, and it's their capital, so ambitious trying to go for it, but maybe pinning down units is probably not a bad idea. We seem to be way more successful in the north. Goddamn autosave, hang on. Just lagged the goddamn game. And we'll try and push towards the south. So now that we have a point under our control, we can use this port point to push further south. Something like this. That'll do. Nice. And we probably... Look, you know what? We can probably bugger those off. Because they weren't going for some reason. And let's just try and move them up there. And... Oh, that was it. I had those guys going. Oh, God. Looks like the Filipino... Filipino? Yeah, Filipino. The Filipino Navy shot down 27 Australian jets. Crazy. And to be fair, we did retaliate, taking out one corvette. Okay, so we're just trying to drop everyone in the north here. We might actually be able to take the capital before the naval invasion is successful. Yeah, thankfully there's a lot of island crossing, so we should be okay. But after the Philippines, who do we go for, guys? Let me know in the comments. Look, there's some other small island nations, but I don't know if it's really worth going for. We're nearly at a point where, honestly, I didn't actually think we would be this strong. I was sort of... Maybe I sort of overestimated how strong Indonesia is as a country once you got partially of it, half of it under your control, half of it on site. Dude, they are really pinning down our close air supports, but we are retaliating. Yeah, because we're nearly strong enough to maybe go against a major faction, try and tackle Japan or China or something, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see how we go. I have to think about it. I'll have to sort of reassess our position. The main thing is, if we were to contend with those two powers, the Air Force has been modernized. It's the Navy. So we might actually have to wait a little bit to get a proper strong Navy. That's why I'm getting at least Australian aircraft carriers. So regardless if we can't capture airfields on the mainland of some of those countries, we're going to be able to operate fighter jets from the sea and helicopters. Okay, but so far it's turned into a little bit of guerrilla warfare here in some of these islands. But thankfully, by the look of it, the US didn't guarantee their independence. And they're fighting a lot. Manila. Why is Manila being taken? What the fuck? Oh, they bugged, are they? Why are the units invisible? I think they are they? No, they're not. I can see some of them. What the hell? I might need to restart the game. Because sometimes it is a little bit buggy, the Millennium Dawn mod. Some people have real problems with it. Especially the load times. Thankfully, I don't. Probably just because due to my computer is off the charts. But, yeah. I think after if you start in 2000, after 2020, sometimes the game can just like weirdly crash. I don't know. Thankfully, with my playthroughs, I've had very limited crashes or problems. Thankfully. This Millennium Dawn modern day mod now, the modern day mod now, is way more stable than what it used to be. Compared to when I played it 5-6 years ago now, when it was just the modern day mod. But I'm really loving the Millennium Dawn mod. It's great. I highly recommend it if you guys haven't played it. There's some really cool factions you can play. I do recommend starting in the 2000 start date because there's so much stuff you can do earlier on. And they've basically fixed the supply issue. That was a huge problem in that first iteration of the mod. But yeah, I really do appreciate the developers of this mod. Massive shout out to them. They've done a really good job. Add Australia as a custom focus stream. I love you even more. But yeah, dude, modders are crazy. They work so hard on these mods for the community. I'm always thankful of modders. They always deserve a massive shout out. Anyway, we're taking the Philippines, and yeah, I think we'll just give it to Indonesia. Yeah, look at that, so now we can actually see it. And it's probably not a bad idea as well. They're quite close, so we'll make that one big island nation there as a nice buffer zone. And they've now fallen. Nice. Well, let's move everyone back to Thailand, and I suppose we make plans to go against the big red menace to the north. We can't seem to get any licenses from them, and they can probably dock their navy to the north as well. It's probably not an overly bad idea. We're basically focusing on fuel now, construction-wise. Okay, we have a whopping 213 factories. Fuck yes. Alright, let's move everyone back. And let's draw some battle plans to the north. So 2, 4, 6, 8, geez, 10. We've got 130 or so. 120 more or less. Is that enough to tackle them? Maybe. Like, what else are we going to do? Like, we've sort of gone out and hit my objective of forming a Southeast Asian defense alliance. And I did say if we ever got strong enough to rival some of the major factions, like, we might as well try and do it. My god, we look like some crazy octopus spilling out of Vietnam. Oh my god, look at that. It's like tentacles going into the country. Oh, we've also got a bunch of divisions back here as well. Well, let's send them over. And we probably can get some more Thai and Indonesian recruits as well. So, 2010, 10 years. Over 100 divisions. Nearly 2 million manpower. A united Southeast Asian. Southeast Asia, can we do it with our allies? I think it's time to risk it. Right, let's make plans to do it. Let's move the Air Force over. They're currently in an active war, though, as well. Focusing on Taipei, so maybe they can be distracted with them. And we'll try and run some of these drills. So they've lost 1k. So they've got 50 to 100. But they've really yet to take any crazy territory. And hopefully we can be successful here today. It's another flashpoint in the series. It's make or break. All our hard work comes to this. In 2010, can we beat them here today? Hopefully we can. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new. I'd really much appreciate it. It's all come to this. We've united the majority of Southeast Asia. We've got well over 100 divisions on the border. We've got Thai and Indonesian allies with us. We currently have 100 ships at our disposal. And we've got a vast air force as well. We've put in the hard work. Hopefully it's enough. We're currently hemorrhaging money at the moment. But it's not going to matter because we have a huge war chest still. We have an abundance of resources which we're trading, but I'm going to negotiate with the Saudis to get more fuel. Oh, okay. Japan abandons defensive principles. Okay, I wonder if they will help us out in this one. Stuff's going still crazy over here. With the Axis of Resistance and Peninsula Sword. It looks like the House of Romanov is back. So it looks like some countries are going the monarchy route for whatever reason. And it's complete. The justification against them. Our fuel is at max capacity. Our trade is perfect. Once we war deck them, we probably will have a trade issue. But we also will be able to hamper them. Now they do have some territory down in the south, but that's something to keep an eye on. But here we go. It's make or break. Have we done enough? Oh god. So they have, yeah. Now it's a little bit more sharp. It was 50 to 100 in the last episode. Now they got closer to 80 to 100, so slightly more. We'll move the navy into the region here off the coast. And hopefully our Indonesian and Thai allies will be able to help us out as well. Thankfully, we've got a huge southern border against them. If we can get air supremacy, that would be fantastic. So, okay. So, there's been a little bit of a conflict prior. Taipei's lost 150. We maintain air supremacy in South Indochina under a united Thailand, which are our puppets. Oh, God. Okay. So, if things continue, our air force will run out of planes compared to theirs. We just need to push forward. Like, when you see that, oh god, the Navy's getting engaged as well. Oh no, they sunk a bunch, but we are still maintaining naval supremacy. We do have upgraded ships, but we probably need to upgrade some of these smaller buffs like radar and missile effectiveness. Okay, so we are winning on some bubbles, but we've also been pushed in some others. We've lost a K, but now they've ballooned a bit. We're taking some tiles here and there. I still think we run the Air Force, even though if a lot of them are going to get essentially shot down. Japan won't come in and help. No, I'm just curious more or less. Because we're distracting their fighters from, and close air support and bombers of actually focusing on our units. But this is going to be a crazy war. We're making some inroads. They've taken a tile, but we've taken about 3 or 4. Our units are definitely more battle-hardened and have a lot of experience. Alright, so they're sinking some of our supply ships. Oh, there's a huge naval engagement here. We traded really quite well. But unfortunately, they sunk a bunch of our HMAS frigates. We're also really lacking steel, and that's because we're trying to construct a bunch of ships, which are quite expensive. We've obviously got Indonesia mostly under our control, so our rubber is secure, and the Saudis are supplying us with fuel. We've gone to 5k losses, and they've lost another 16. But so far, we seem to be progressing quite well, and we're going to be able to bring more reinforcements from Darwin. And we're starting to stretch them here in some areas as well. Okay, if we can start to take some of these airfields, this could change the tide in the war, but we're really stretching them. We're inflicting mass casualties on them. And I imagine as well, if we can take some of these air bases, Taipei should be able to run some drills onto the mainland. Oh god. We're losing a bunch of our newly constructed navy. Holy shit. Oh, wow. The winter war's back on for some reason. Why is that? Okay, I've got to keep an eye on that. That's kind of cool. We are playing with alternative timelines and focuses, so the world's gone a little bit crazy. Slovenia has left the EU. Alright. We've taken about 4 or 5 tiles from our territory, And we seem to be stretching them quite effectively. We still need to get this steel back up if we can. Like, we've got the factories to do so. We've got a whopping 220. So we've got a combined Australian, Thai, Indonesian coalition going at it. So that's basically the strength of Australia at the moment. It's been 11 years coming. And we might be able to tackle the CCP if we're lucky. Holy shit. Alright, let's get some more divisions over and get them to the front line quick, fast. Got a bunch of logistics as well. We're going to be able to request some divisions from Thailand. Oh, God. And the navies are trading once again. Let's get... I think we leave the Spratlys. We don't need to focus on them. Okay, so it's now gone to 14k, but they've gone up to 50k. We're taking a lot of them out. Just because we're so hyper-aggressive advancing. They do have some alliances in the west. Tajikistan and a couple of others. We've got a fresh army that we can send up. That guy's portrait's been doubled down the bottom. So maybe we try and get these 17 units to purely focus on the coast. And we'll try and rapidly send them up. We've probably chugged through about 30% of our fuel. We still have about 70. They've landmined the hell out of it. Our convoys are getting hit. Finland's been puppeted. What the fuck? And they've brought back the monarchy house in Finland. What? And they've joined CSTO. Okay, we are losing in some areas, but we're still really progressing with minimal casualties. Oh no, some of the convoys got intercepted there, I think. We've really got to keep an eye on that once we're ferrying forces across. Jeremy Corbyn's now the PM. It was Boris not too long ago. It's been a little bit back and forth in the UK. It's gone to 30k, but now we've nearly hit 100k for them. But we're doing well. We're nearly about to secure that southern island. The Thais have lost a K. I wonder if naval invasions will start going on the coast. We could set some of our own, but we're just really dividing and conquering them. We're about to surround another bunch there. Nice. Get improved drones if we want. We still don't have the air supremacy over here. Just because they have superior fighter quality. But I haven't really decided what I want to do with the country. As our navy gets engaged again here in the strait. I could puppet it, but that might be quite a little bit weird. I could partition the country. Divide it between our allies. I haven't decided just yet. Okay, so we're starting to create... There's another winter war going on. What the hell? I thought they were puppeted. Well, I guess they've declared their independence somewhat. We are distracting their fleet, though. Although we're taking losses. Like, what else am I going to do with the navy? Like, I don't need to navally invade anyone. They're putting a bunch of mines in and around, though. So we could maybe hold off a bit if we want. Regroup. But we seem... I think just keeping up the pressure is a good idea. Alright, we need to make sure this southern position doesn't flank us. They don't seem to be navally invading into Thailand, which could be an issue. Come on. Japan wants to invest still. Good. I could use your navy or some military forces, to be honest. I had a hope that they were moving away from pacifism. Oh, it's nearly shot up to 200k losses for them. Now we're at about 60, but that's okay. Oh god, we're already attacking them. Of course we're going to condemn this practice. Interesting. Like, we're already actively in a war with them. Why does it matter to condemn them internationally? We're down to about a 40% of our total fuel. I did build enough silos so we could have about 8 million litres, I think it was, of petroleum. Mostly from the Saudis. Okay, so come on, we just need to push into this small little island here, which they might withdraw from because they've mined it quite effectively. Finland's capitulated again. Oh, nice. HK's now fallen, and we've actually got, because we're controlling this territory, we've got up through like 2 million manpower, which is kind of insane. We're still advancing slowly but surely, but we are losing quite a bit. But we just seem to be absolutely forcing our way through it, and we seem to be getting fresh units ever so often as well. We're struggling in some areas, but we're taking a lot of ground in others. I just think we're losing less than them. Well, we seem to be pushing around the flank here. Oh, nice. We might even get another encirclement here. We've had a couple lucky encirclements. Okay. Yeah, let's get the 2015 Org variant. Like, why not? Oh, here we go. We're about to surround 3 divisions. Alright, now it's ballooned to 100k lost. It's just this last little hurrah. We are really flanking him on that left-hand side there. Alright, we've got some more reinforcements that have arrived, thankfully. Yeah. Oh, we seem to somehow have gotten a bunch of fuel. What was that? Maybe we captured some of their silos, potentially? I don't know. We were looking a little bit worse for wear. We still don't have air supremacy in the south. If we chuck more in, will that help? Because once we get air supremacy in some of these regions, it should really rapidly increase the advance. I just think we're outnumbering them slightly. So they got 74. Yeah, look at this. We outnumber them. We've taken out enough. Because we actually outnumbered them per division. Like, they've probably got larger divisions, like more men, more logistics. So if we keep this up, we might actually be able to stretch that front line enough so that there's going to be at least 1 unit missing on a tile. Because we've managed to capture a fair few, it's actually getting worse. We actually outnumber them per division. But I bet our weight is a lot lower than ours. Like, our weight of a division is a lot lower to theirs. It's probably quite cumbersome. Maybe we're more mobile as well. But so far, if it keeps on going as it is, we should be able to capitulate them within a year or so. Nice. There's a really nice spearhead push here. We're flanking quite hard on the left. We're about to surround a bunch. But yeah, look at this. This huge push in the center. There's no one there defending them. And if we keep up with sending our infantry that are being recruited and trained and sent from Darwin, we find... Oh my god, that's a mega push there. Japan's getting involved. Hang on, how does that work out? Okay. No, they're not directly in it. That pop-up was slightly deceiving. But anyway. Dude. We're literally about to divide the country. What the hell? Estonia, Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark were puppeted. What? How? Oh my god. How have they joined that? Oh, they've gone full monarchy. The House of Bernadotte. Okay. Yeah. NATO's influence has fallen. There's a bunch of factions in Europe. Kind of crazy. Alright. Let's get everyone over. And then we've got another bunch of divisions. Strange, that. 5 million manpower now. And we're still not even on draft or conscription. We're actually on volunteer. Come on, Australia. Come on, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, God. Our Navy's trashed. We've got another ace pilot. Okay. And now they're targeting my convoys, which will really slow our ship production. It even looks like they striked the island of Java, maybe hitting some production facilities, but we're about to surround another bunch here. And I'll try and get this division to push into the north. But we are looking very, very good at the moment. We've made some massive progress and massive inroads into the country. Nearly 400k for them. We've lost a significant amount, but let's be honest, not all of them would be Australian pop. As, yeah, you would imagine probably only like 25% is actually Australian in our available manpower. The other 75 is probably members of this Southeast Asian coalition helping out. But we're doing well. Let's keep it up. Dude, our Navy is absolutely shot to shit. Okay, can we get any more forces? I need 2. I don't know why, but they're really struggling to produce units. Thailand's been giving us way more. Not entirely sure why. Alright. Still constantly sending divisions over. But we're nearly about to divide the country in 2 between east and west. And they are definitely about 60% towards capitulation. And we finally have air supremacy in the south. Mostly because we've captured their air bases. So if we send our units up... We might have been able to capture some of their air force potentially. Hang on. If we can get air supremacy over the entire country, this could change the war. Come on. Alright, let's try this now. Alright. In the Himalayas, we seem to have it. Oh, even on the coast. And we're contesting it in the north. Yeah, so maybe their air force has been incredibly depleted. Hang on. Hopefully, now that I've recalibrated that, that's enough. Yeah, we're literally just outnumbering them. 190 divisions is actually kind of insane. We're just stretching them. Nice. I didn't even edit my templates in this. I didn't even bother in the end. Doesn't even matter. They seem to be working really effectively. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah, some people like to roleplay or make their own divisions, but so far, both for the Germany, the US, and the Australian campaign, the default division templates have actually been not bad. It's not like they haven't been competitive. Look, you can min-max everything to some extent in these games. I'm so curious, what equipment are these guys using? Like the special forces? Oh, they're using the orgs. Okay. We've nearly completed the national focus. Sweden's triggered Article 50. Okay. So we've divided the country in 2 now. Got a bunch of dockyards at our disposal. No, I don't want to sign a non-aggression pact with them. Oh my god, 500,000. We're at 250k. Alright, try and push north. Particularly if there's no units stopping you. Definitely do it. Estonia as well. Finland. Yeah, it's because they've gone full-blown monarchy. Alright, let's push towards the capital. Nice. %80 or so to capitulation. Yeah, we've got him. I can't see us losing from this position now. We just need to take the main victory points, and we've got him. The Thais have lost 10k. Nice, let's advance here. Oh my god. The border gore is off the charts. They still seem to be deploying some down in the south here, but we just need to try and gobble up as many of these. Even if they do get cut off and surrounded. We'll take that risk, because we're so close to winning this. We only have to defeat them as well. Most of the west is fully under control, but it's mostly desert over there. There's not overly too many victory points available. Come on. They seem to be taking a couple back. Dude, that's like 96% towards capitulation. Come on. But we've been maintaining our fuel, which is fantastic. What really slowed things down in that Indonesian invasion was our fuel supply. So it's definitely worth stockpiling that before you have a full-blown incursion into a major faction. But I think they sort of were in a couple wars, so they were kind of weakened to some extent, slightly. And luckily we had a full-on land bridge from Thailand. If we had to navally invade, it would have been a completely different story. But thankfully we united the south and basically had all of the supplies to ourselves. We could easily run it from Indonesia to Thailand. Alright, so a lot of their units are surrounded here and just fighting to the bitter end. Come on. Oh, they retook their capital. Well, we should make an effort to retake it, because that's probably what's holding them out. Hang on, just to grab everyone to haul to it. Come on, focus on it. Come on, come on. If their capital falls, that should be it. How are we doing over here? Fine. We just need to retake their capital. Improved uniforms. Nice. Nearly January 2012. Still not old enough for the draft yet. Me personally. Come on. If not, we just have to focus on more of their units. Alright, maybe we need some more reinforcements. Oh my god, we got a bunch. Let's get them over. Mustn't be too much longer, surely. I could have deleted all of these front lines. Maybe a bit earlier, but... Oh god, we're so close. It's just gone a bit mental, hasn't it? Oh my god. Divisions are isolated off the charts. Oh yeah, so we retook their capital, but now they got a new one. Oh, come on, maybe we take their secondary one that's pivoted to... Oh, God, they're so close. Come on. They've been cut off there. Nice. Oh, my God, we did it. And it's lagging. Wow. Yeah, so I'm going to have a bit of a think of what exactly I want to do. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Okay, so what I'm going to do is give all the political power to myself, and I think we divide up the country. I think we liberate any states within. So... No, I think we satellite, not liberate, because we want to directly control them. So let's satellite these two for... Oh, no, we don't want to... we could do that, actually. Yeah, let's satellite these 3 countries within and make them their own state. Nice. And then what I'll do is I'll increase Thailand's territory in the south. So you can have that southern jungle territory under their direct control. Like this. How much more can we give before it looks weird? No. Probably just that. We'll start off with that to see. Okay, cool. That looks okay. Then we'll give the center to our Indonesian allies. Nice. And then I take the rest for myself, maybe. Depends what it looks like. So hang on. We could give that... Oh, who do we give that to, though? No, maybe we give it to Thailand. Looks alright. And then I take the north, the entirety of the north, I think. Just depends how much... Like, I want to try and make it look even as possible. Like that. I do want to try and increase their capacity, but... I just don't know if I'm going to be able to. Like, that might be all I can give them. Without it looking too whack. And yeah, I take the rest here on the mainland. And then probably the islands as well. It's not like we need this direct control. But we might as well take it, why not? Bring back the 3 kingdom period here. And then I just take the rest of the states directly under control. Nice! We've divided the country in 3. Oh my god. A little bit border gore wise. But 5 states now rule this vast amount of territory. Oh god. Alright, gotta keep an eye on the unrest and stuff as well. But we've rewarded our allies. No hard feelings to them after taking part of their country. They managed to get a little bit more. And I would say officially, we've managed to secure and protect Australia from any foreign interference with this ring of steel island chains together. And, oh yes, we can create a faction, finally. It's because we've finished the tree. I keep on calling it the tech tree because I play Total War a lot. The national focus. Okay, so let's do so. Let's create a faction. So, we could call it... I was thinking like... Because we are the Australian Defence Force. I'm thinking like South East Defence Force? No. The Oceania Defence Force? That'd be kind of cool. But we've kind of got Indonesia and Thailand helping us out. So... maybe we call it but we won't add the Southeast Asian Defense Force. Nothing like calling a once aggressive, conquering faction of defense pact a defense force. Defense. Is that going to be enough to fit it all in? Force. I think that's what we want. Nice, let's do that. A faction has been created. Oh, perfect. Yeah, because we've nearly completed the tree. Like, nearly. I think that's what it did. Because we didn't have national... Stability. Oh, God, it's green. That's annoying. I wish I could change the color. Can I change the color somehow? Oh, just because it blends in with CSTO. But we've created our huge faction to the south. Well, the only other territory in our sphere of influence that we could go into and incorporate into the faction is Korea, Japan, India. But we're basically at a stage where we can go out and conquer anyone else if we want. Can we invite anyone else to the faction? Here, that'd be cool if we could. They're not exactly in Southeast Asia, but alright. The Southeast Asian Defense Force. Nice! Alright. Anything else we can do here? No. I think we're good. NATO's still doing shocking. Peninsula Sword's doing alright. Kind of crazy what's happened here. And then there's a full monarchy route going in CST. Oh my god. Same with Denmark as well. There's like 3 faction packs that have happened there. Really interesting, actually. Nice. Well, I think that's... oh, hang on. We can invite someone. Oh, Bhutan. Oh, so there was a faction we could invite. Just them. Oh, God. They're like so tiny and close here. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed episode 5. January 2012, 12 years in the future. We've sort of hit our objectives for this series. Definitely down to do more episodes, but it's up to you guys in the comments. Would you like me to go against India, Japan, potentially? Or are we too strong for it to really be a challenge now that we've taken out the biggest major power in our neck of the woods? Let's say. Maybe I should move on to something else, because it's always fun to build up and conquer other factions. Like, we don't want to go with a full world conquest. I think it's kind of unrealistic. I think we had a good goal here in our South Pacific sphere of influence, and we've dominated it. Maybe we're better off playing as something like Japan or Turkey or something. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today's video. Let me know if you'd like to see more. Potentially in episode 6. Haven't decided just yet. I'll check your guys' feedback and suggestions in the comments. But lastly, got to say a massive thank you to this month's YouTube channel members. Massive thank you to Divine Overhand, Mikey, Eric, Chuckles the Hut, Green, Nero 1, Dimitri H, and Hector Bay. Really appreciate those guys. So if you haven't already, like and subbed, would really appreciate it. My name's been Simpsy. Stay tuned for more Hearts of Iron 4 content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.